Well, hello. I'm going to be doing a bit of live coding. This is mainly for my creative coding class and for the benefit of them because they're working on a screensaver project. So I don't know who's watching, if anyone, but that's what I'm doing here. But I thought it would be kind of interesting to try to do this live, and then if it turns out okay, then share the results. I spent a little time this morning working on a project where I was trying to implement the flying toaster screensaver, which you just saw there in my intro thing. That's the classic Windows 98. Well, in this case, this was the Windows 98 version of the classic screensaver, which is Flying Toasters by After Dark. And I've been trying to implement that in P5.js just to see how that would go and kind of to practice my P5.js skills. And I wanted to show you what I got so far, and then one major thing that I was able to change about it. By the way, the background music that I think is still playing is Muzak from a Mall in 1974 that I found on YouTube. I kind of liked it. So I can't hear it anymore, actually, because I don't feel like getting the headphones on, but I guess I'll leave that going in case you enjoy it. So let me show you what I got so far, and one pretty major revision that I figured out and kind of why I did that. This is where I ended up near the end of my stream this morning, and you can see that it's kind of working. I've got the basic GIF, like the basic flapping wings GIF, and it's moving right to left across the screen, just like the toasters do in the original. And that looks pretty good in a lot of ways. I mean, I had to change the background color to match. The background color of the GIF was a solid black, and I had set my screen to be more of a grayish color. And that I like the grayer screen look, like a dark gray as opposed to a full black, but I wanted to make a match, so I did that. But you can kind of see wherever the toasters get near each other that they kind of occlude one another. So the square of the animated GIF kind of gets in the way of the other animated GIF. So these don't look like independent toasters, these look like squares containing toasters. And that's even more obvious because of the other thing you kind of see here, which is that I programmed it so that these will go right to left and then like go back to the right again and to come in here. The problem is that in and out is being managed in a way that was a little unusual, and the way I had to figure out, like with some trial and error, I did figure out that the best way to load an animated GIF and actually have it animate is using the create image method, or create img. That's different than the image create image function in P5.js, by the way, but this one actually adds an image element to the DOM, like to the web page, the document object model, I think is what it stands for this for the sketch that I'm seeing here. And that it's maybe kind of tricky to explain, but let me look at it in the code view, and you can kind of see when we look at a P5.js sketch, it really is just it's a full web page that contains the canvas that's generated by my P5.js code that I write here, but there's a whole web page around it. And what happens whenever you use the create image method, like I did there, is it adds just an image element into that web page, and that image element is alongside the canvas, and then in this case moving like in front of it, and so it moves off the screen, and then we can still see it basically as it moves beyond the edges of the canvas. Basically, the images have no idea that the canvas exists, and so they're just moving where I told them to in the coordinate plane. And that's okay, but it doesn't look great. Now actually you can't see it here in this here because the HTML for that, the image tags and the canvas tag, all that's generated by P5.js. You can, however, see it if you inspect it. So this is what it looks like in the element inspector in Firefox. And if you look down in here, these are all of those toaster images that are changing their positions to create the animation, and this is fine, right? I mean, that's a good way to do it, obviously, and it works. But the issue is that this this div ID window, that's something I made up to try to solve this problem, and it didn't work. But this right here, canvas, that's the P5.js sketch area, like that's the drawing area. So when you add something in draw, like ellipse or circle, whatever, that's the canvas that it's going to draw it on. Because these exist at the same level in the document object model, the toasters are going to appear in front of it, and that also means that I can't have they can't know about the edges of the canvas. Like I was thinking if I could sort of wrap these inside of the canvas tag somehow, then that would keep them from overflowing. But anyway, I did solve that problem, so I'm kind of talking through what I ended up doing, but it took me a while to figure this out. The other issue with the kind of occluding thing that you see there, that was, I had to actually just go in and manipulate the GIF and rearrange it. So let me show you what I came up with, and there is still one problem I want to try to solve, so that's what I'm going to be doing in the live stream, but this is I have made a lot of improvements in it, I think. So let me show you where this is. This is Flying Toasters V2. I kept both of these so that it would be possible to compare them, and here's the newer version, and you can see it's improved in two pretty significant ways, I think. We have toasters. They appear and disappear at the edges of the nominal screen here. The green, I mean the black rectangle that is symbolizing my computer monitor, and it seems to work. So let me show you how I did this. First of all, like I said, I manipulated the GIF, so that's something I can't really show, but I went through it. I think it was 15 frames of animation, and I just went through and changed it pixel by pixel until it looked right. And it has a transparent background. That took a little trial and error, and that was a different process. But usually if you find an animated GIF, it's already going to have a transparent background. This one just didn't happen to have one, so I just went in and made that myself using Glimpse, the photo editor. Glimpse, by the way, is like a fork of GIMP, and I like Glimpse a lot, and I'm happy with it. So whoever made that, thank you for doing that. I guess I should look at the actual credits for that software. But so this is I can show you the, well, I don't need to show you. You see the difference here, that it looks pretty different. So here's the thing I figured out, and it took a while. I mean, just kind of thinking through different things, but let me just kind of navigate through my code here a little bit. Each of these toasters is created by this constructor function, capital T toaster, and then it goes in and then does what it needs to make it. It starts off at x equals 900, which is over to the right edge, beyond the right edge, and then it picks a random starting height and then moves here according to the speed x and the speed y numbers. Those are applied down here, so every draw cycle it adjusts the position by that amount. And so to make it go faster, I can make these higher numbers, make it slower, I can make those lower numbers. So this is the display function, and this is where the actual animation happens. This is what happens every time the draw function runs. So remember, the draw function in P5.js is a loop, so it's happening 30 times a second or whatever it is. Doesn't matter, we don't need to know. And every time it runs, it loops through every toaster that it knows about, and then it hits that each individual toaster's display function, and it says to run that display function. So that's what happens in here. It actually does adjusts the position according to the speed value. It also resets if it has gone beyond the edge or below the edge. Now this is the part that actually draws a toaster. So this is creating a local variable inside the object called toaster_image, and that's going to load this GIF. Anatoast alpha again.gif was the final one I ended up with. Doesn't matter, but that's the name of the one that works. And then what it does that's a little different now is that it takes that and then it attaches this element. Remember, this makes an image element in the actual web page. This function here will attach that function I just created, toaster_image, to something else. In this case, something I called toast window. So this now is a child of toast window, and in toast window I can go into the CSS, although I think I did it inline, no, I did it somewhere else. But in the CSS of that toast window element, I said it's overflow to hidden. So that means that anything that gets past the edge of that rectangle will disappear, and that's what we see here. It disappears right at the edge. So let me show you where I made that. This was a new kind of concept to me, so I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but first of all, just initiated the toast window variable, and then you just essentially make a DOM element with this function here, create div, and that, as the name suggests, simply creates a div element. And then I set the styles for that. The main thing happening here is the width and the height are set to 800, 600, which is my canvas size, and then position is absolute, so that it sticks that in the top left, and that means that it will appear in front of the canvas, and then I said overflow hidden, and that was it. So then now that exists, I can give it children, and so I made the toasters its children, and then they appear to stay within it as it animates. So overall, I'm very happy with the results, and I'm pleased that I discovered this. And kind of, yeah, I was hoping to have like a more like a pure canvas approach, like something that would be totally inside of the HTML canvas here that's created by P5.js. But I think this is fine. I mean, obviously it works, so that's good. But now, like I said, there is another problem, and let me see. This is a minor tweak, but I think it's something that is worth trying to do. And also, once I get this solved, I want to add not just toasters, but toast, if I can find a toast GIF. So the issue is a little bit easier to see if I make more of them. Like right now, I'm going to only have 6 toasters at a time. So let's up that to 100, and you'll see the issue. Which is that they all come in a wave, and some of them are a little behind, and these are the ones that already cycled out of view at the bottom, and then they've already come back around on the other side. But that wave at the beginning is going to be most of those toasters that take the same amount of time to move right to left. I keep forgetting I have my camera flipped. And I mean, that's not a huge issue. Obviously, it still accomplishes the effect of flying toasters. But I want to see if I can take that out by introducing a slight delay in some of them and seeing if that gives me the intended effect. So I'm thinking that since this is affected as these are created, I'm thinking that perhaps I could introduce a sleep element here or timeout element. I just don't remember how to do that. So I'm gonna, as I often do, just Google this, but this is a JavaScript thing. So I'm wondering if there's like I can't remember if you have to make this like a listener kind of thing. I can never remember how these things work. So this is one of those things that I do frequently, but I can never remember. So I just end up going back to a tutorial. I like W3 Schools. Now my next project for my class is actually a clock, and clocks are tricky, and really because they involve the representation of time. But this is probably not going to get you what you need to make a clock. I'll just say that. Okay, so this is an example set timeout function. Okay, fine, and clear timeout. All right, good, great. So this is 2 functions here: set timeout, clear timeout. And okay, that looks fine. But let me see if there's a P5.js version of this or something in the references about this in P5.js, because sometimes things are slightly different here, or there's something that's a bit more elegant. Timer. And I really like their documentation, so thank you for writing it, whoever wrote this documentation. And just like the organization of the site is really, really nice. Is it timeout? I mean, I find the search function here really quite useful. So let's see, which is only, like, a lot of sites have really poorly implemented searches, and so it's nice that this one does. Okay, time. It's not delta time, is it? No. Okay, this is good to know. I did not know about this function. That sounds like that could be really useful for a clock. Okay, we're tweaking like an animation with music. That's pretty cool. Okay, so what else do I know about this that I can use? Is it timeout? Maybe it is just literally timeout. You know, another thing I could do. No, I don't want to do that. I was thinking I'd have it like only generate, like do something kind of hacky, like have like as it's printing, like as it's creating those 100 things, maybe only generate them every something seconds, like only generate them if the last digit of the timestamp is a 5 or something like that. But that would just sort of that would be kind of fragile. Like I don't think that would work that well. But I think also this timing thing might also be an issue. So I don't know. I'll kind of hold that in the back of my head there. Okay, let's literally just copy and paste and see how that goes, and see if we can make this work in this context, sometimes getting things into this context is a bit harder. So, what do I have on my clipboard? I don't remember now. Oh yeah, so we have to make a, oh, can we just do it like that? Let's try it ourselves. Let me try it here in W3 Schools thing first and see if this, oh, no, I'm not gonna do that. Let me just try it here. This is how I code. I just sort of try things and then mess around until it works. But I also do a lot of talking to myself, and I do it a lot in my head, but I thought it might be interesting to try it live and see how it goes. Of course, this is sort of flying without a net. Like, I could be doing something really dumb and somebody watching this is like, oh man, if you would just do it the right way. And so if you do know the right way to do this, let me know. I don't think it's, I can't just copy and paste this in here. I gotta actually read this and understand what I'm doing. Repeats a given function at every time interval. Okay, great. So I could just do, oh yeah, okay. So what if I did it like, I wonder if I can do it. I can just do I can make a little anonymous function that generates these and stick it in right in place there. Maybe, let me, I don't know if that makes sense, but let me see if I can do that, just because, right? So what we're actually doing is this toasters.push. That's the thing that actually we want to happen every whatever. So let's see if I make it, you still see what I'm doing here? Yeah. Let me see if I make that. Do I have to assign that to a variable? Like, can I just do that in place? Let's try it like they have it. I don't think surely this isn't necessary to do it this way, but set interval. What was it? All right, so then I'm gonna do my function right here, and then end that, and I'm gonna say we'll make it really obvious. So we'll do 1,000 for a whole second. That should be pretty easy to see. And then what else? Anything else? No, that could be it. Okay, so let's try that. Move this in here. So this might work. I'm a little hesitant, and I'm getting a note here from the editor. Oh yeah? So you're telling me I can't? I think that's warning me about a scoping issue, which is always, variable scoping always gets me in JavaScript. Let's just try it anyway, see if anything happens. Whoa, look at him go. Okay, why are there that many more of them? Is that more of them? Wow. Cool. All right, that's a lot. That's a lot of this. Well, let's maybe. This is running a lot more times than I wanted it to. Let's see. What if we are only looping through this? You know, maybe we don't need the loop. Maybe we could do something else. But let's try to lower this number, and we should be able to tell if there's 5 or more than 5, because maybe that was 100 just all at once. Let's see if this does 5 or more than 5. Yeah, that's more than 5. So, okay, but we're making toasters, so that's good. So I don't know why we're making so many, except that maybe it's just running this function constantly. All right, so this, I think we're getting close. I'm getting close to this, but I'm not there yet. So let's see what else you can understand about this particular example. So like I'm going to kind of narrate what I think is happening and then see if I can interpolate that to my specific context. This is, yeah, coding live, right? So I'm taking this as set an interval, and like every interval indicated by this number here, which is 1,000, I assume that's in milliseconds, then it's going to run this function called myTimer. So this is, you know what, maybe, yeah, maybe my for loop is causing the problem, because what if I had this do, like run this interval and then, run this function, and then within this function it just checks how many toasters are there, and if there's enough, then we're going to stop. So maybe that would be a way to do it. Kind of inside out of how I was thinking originally, but I think that makes sense. So let me comment out my for loop, and I wish I didn't have to assign this to something here. I wonder if I could just, okay, so let's just see where we are right now. If we just run this without a for loop. Yeah, it's just making a toaster every second or so. And it's going to keep doing that forever, I assume. What if I don't need this part? Because that would be nice, because this seems kind of weird sitting there like that. Talking. Okay, so we don't need to assign it to a variable. That's good. I didn't think so. That is kind of awkward. Okay, so let's just do... Let's do this. So function, and down in here what I can do, hopefully, again, I don't know, hopefully this doesn't create a scoping thing, but what we're going to do here is just do how many toasters are there currently. So if, what is it called? Toasters length is less than 5, this will be our toaster number, then we're going to go and make some toasters, right? And that's a new container there, and so otherwise it's not. So hopefully this will stop making toasters after 5 toasters. Let's just make it 3 to make it even easier to see when it's done. And all the toasters look the same, so it is possible that they'll end up kind of looking like closer to each other. There they go. All right, so this is good. So we figured out how to control the generation of these, like to make these generate a bit slower, and what that means is that they're going to spread themselves out as they start flying across the screen. And really looking at the original screensaver, there are multiple kinds of toasters, and for this, I guess, like primary type of toaster, it's okay looking. I just noticed my stream has either my stream is frozen or the view of P5.js on the stream is frozen, which is kind of curious. Let me try refreshing this, see if that clears it. Wait, I want to definitely save these results. It's almost like the browser interesting. So it looks like this is actually what you're seeing on the stream. It looks like my browser has kind of frozen, or it's stopped updating the browser source in the output on OBS. I've not seen that happen before. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can bring that back somehow, because yeah, it's definitely not, my screen does not look like this anymore. So why does it look like this on the screen, on the stream? I wonder if I turn it off and back on again. Let's try just sort of changing it out, changing the source of the stream, and then changing it back to this. Okay, that's where I currently am. And I was worried about like if I could do P5.js, because the way that it draws to the screen can take a fair amount of memory, so I was wondering if maybe it was going to be too much. Maybe it was. Well, anyway, this is where I am. Look at my toasters go. They're doing great. I basically ended up, the timer function worked out, and it seems to be doing a good job of keeping the toasters in line and not too crowded. So I'm not going to try to flood it. Maybe that was what killed it, was when it was flooding with toasters. I think 3 is a good number, and I'm okay with that. But just, I'll go back to 5 for now. All right, so we still have a little bit of time. I'm waiting on, my wife is making dinner. I'm waiting on that to be ready, and so that's when I'm going to wrap it up. But thought I'd go ahead and try to get toast in here, because that's another thing. And if you watch the screensaver a bit, every now and then they are, some toasts are super fast. I mean, some toasters are much faster than each other. We could actually, I do kind of like the way that these fly in formation sometimes when they're together. So I wonder, we could randomize the speed, or we could make different kinds of toasters, and some are fast and some are slow. So I think, I don't know, yeah, let's just try that. So we'll make, so this is we'll call this, let me tighten up my code here a little bit so it's a bit easier to read and to duplicate. And I think what I will actually do is just use the same toaster constructor, and as it creates them, decide on the speed, and it'll make some that are fast and some that are slow, but I'll make a limited number of each. So I'm going to make it so that I can pass an argument in here, and I will call this, I'll call this speed factor, because why not? And then when I use it down here, I'm going to say, I'm going to take whatever I've set as the speed, and I'm going to multiply it times whatever the speed factor is. So this is going to come in from it's going to come in from the constructor, and then be applied to what I've said here. And I found that 5 and 2 is the right ratio to get that angle right for the toaster. I mean, that I kind of guessed at that originally, and it looked pretty good, so I kept that ratio. But then I'm going to multiply it by the speed factor. So whenever I make toasters like this, it's a speed factor of 1. So it's going to multiply times what I've written in there, negative 5 and 2, and it should be the same thing that we've been seeing. But let's also make some faster ones too. So let's do let's go ahead and make our total number 8, and let's make 2 toasters at a time. So it'll do 2, it'll basically do 4 fast ones and 4 slow ones, I think is what's going to happen here. So I'm going to say push new toaster, but now I'm going to make some of these super fast. So this will be the speed factor of 10. That's going to hopefully make some of them appear quite different. Oh, there it goes. Yikes. Okay, cool. Yeah, I really like that. That's maybe a bit too many fast ones, but I really like the way they sort of come zooming in there. Oh, this is cool. I'm pretty happy. I mean, I guess I could make 2 separate toaster lists, or I could check for each and sort of make one. But the nice thing about doing it this way is that it's just 1 toaster count total, and then it's being added to just with 2 toasters each time this function runs every second. And yeah, pretty neat. I do like that formation look, or the way that some of them are zooming and some are creeping along. We can make these even, I mean, we can make it faster, but that does seem like about the right speed for the fast ones. But just for fun, let's try making them even faster. Wow, okay, yeah, you can barely see them. Yeah, that's too fast. But it's kind of entertaining. We'll do 10 there, okay. Good, okay, so in the classic screensaver, the classic toast screensaver, there are toasters and there is also toast. So I'm gonna need to find a animated GIF of, or not animated even, just a GIF of a piece of toast. And I guess, hopefully I can find the right one, but if I can't, then I can probably screenshot from my, emulator, or probably just copy it from there. You notice these are, is this the same toast icon I'm using? It's not. These are slightly different than the toasters I have, but those toasts look pretty good. This is the 2.0 version. I'm using the 4.0 version, so that's why mine look a little bit higher resolution, I guess. Wow, there's a whole list of these. I don't know if anyone would be interested in this, but I would be really interested in trying to go, like, do a whole series, like going through all of these and trying to make them in P5.js. I think that would be a really interesting challenge. And I bet you could do most of them. But I don't know if anyone would care. It would be fun for me to do, but I don't know if that's good enough. Okay, so let's see, maybe I can just, yeah, those toasts don't look quite the same, like resolution, and the color palette's a little different, but it's probably close enough, right? So, it doesn't have a free license, really? Okay, well, yeah, okay, I guess not, but they're doing it for fair use, so am I. This is fair use, right? So let me open it in Glimpse, my photo editor, and just do a quick cropping on this, and then hopefully I can get some toast in here too. So I suppose actually I can share my let's see. This is what I should be doing, using studio mode for. I'm still kind of getting used to this. So here's a glimpse, and this is just where I'm going to do this. By the way, I hope my audio is syncing okay, or relatively okay with my talking. I mean, the video, I think it is, or it's close enough, but I guess, you know, it doesn't really matter because it's not like there's a lot of people watching. All right, so and looking closely at this, I feel like there are a couple of slight variations in the toast, and I don't remember if the toast animated, although maybe it did. I mean, these could be all different frames of the same toast animation. They look the same size, and they are kind of light and dark in the same places, so maybe they did animate. I don't remember if they did. I don't remember them animating. So let me just see if there's somebody's already done like a pixel art GIF of just the toast by itself. Yeah, and I keep getting powdered toast man, which is fine, but not what I'm looking for. This is... okay. I made a GIF of this and put it on Giphy the other day. I wonder if this was mine. It says the owner made it private, so it won't tell me who the owner is, but maybe that was me. Well, this is the animated GIF that I'm using for this demo here. Maybe this version. Yeah, there goes the toast, but I need the toast by itself. I think that's the... Yeah, I don't know what that... this looks like yet another version because the toast is slightly different, and you see the bouncing one here. This could be the Toast Pro version. Although I have Toast Pro, and it looks a little bit less... This looks a little bit less active than that. Let's see what Know Your Meme has to say about it. I don't know. So another idea, I wonder if it's possible, probably not, but I wonder if it's possible to extract the GIF from the screensaver. That'd be interesting. Yeah, probably not, but let me see, or at least not, you know, it would be not trivial, right? But I'm gonna just take a look anyway, and then I'll probably just wrap this up, but because I don't know, I don't want to spend forever making toast. I'm getting hungry. I want real toast. So this is, yeah, you can see I was trying different screensavers. I found a CD of Shrek screensavers, which was okay. It was actually programmed in Flash, so it was interesting to see Flash animation from the year 2001 or 2. So most of the screensaver executables are in here actually. So this is, let's see, This is AD, yeah, this is it, I think. Now it says that's a bitmap image, so maybe this is like the icon for it. Okay, so that's probably not it. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring up my VirtualBox screen. That's what I'm looking at here. So yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of really interesting little screensavers, by the way. I continue to enjoy playing around with them, which is why I thought it'd be interesting to make a whole series of them. I do not see, yeah, I was hoping there would be like an executable or like a zip or something for these, but I don't see it. So yeah, I think I'll wrap it up here or finish up soon. If you have any questions or thoughts, whoever's watching, that would be, you could certainly say hi if you want. Let me, catroot? What is catroot? Catalog, okay. Yeah, it's been so long since I've poked around on a Windows 98 machine. It's really a nostalgic experience. All right, so but I think the next screensaver I want to try is, I'll go ahead and show you this because I think it's pretty nice. Not that. It's over here under accessories and after dark and after dark. So after dark is the screensaver software, and they made obviously lots and lots of these, but this one I thought was really kind of nice. It's called Meadow, and oh, you can adjust the season. Oh, neat. Okay, so let's make it much shorter and see what happens. So it just sort of sparkles these little shapes into place, and I mean, it literally is like drawing every blade of grass in a meadow. And I've got it on fast mode now, but it's growing flowers, and then as you watch, I think the seasons change. But really, what they mean by seasons changing is just the color palette kind of fades out and comes back. So then there's like this orangey kind of grass that's growing. So I guess this is summer. And then it gets all faint like that, goes black and white or close to black and white. And then I don't know if that's supposed to be snow, but these little speckles start showing up. Maybe it's just nighttime. I mean, this whole narrative, right? I mean, you could do a whole lot with this. Also, I just realized that the number of hills that it renders has changed. So this one, sorry, way up, well, am I in front of it? I'm not in front of it, but oh, I moved my cursor. Yeah, it looks like there's 4 hills. I think there were 3 earlier, so I wonder if that's random. Yeah, that looks like 4. It's really interesting how you can start to kind of see the shape of them. So I think this would be really interesting and I think possible to do in P5.js. I think that there would be a number of challenges, and one of these is that these are effectively little pixel artworks, these flowers, and so I would probably just have to find those and import them into P5.js. I've tried to do pixel art. I'm not great at it. I would probably literally just end up screenshotting this and then copying them out. Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think it would be pretty interesting to try to figure out how to maybe generate different hillsides, and like they all seem to have, it's basically just a shape, just a line, and as these grow in with more definition, you can see they're curved slightly, but otherwise they just suggest distance by scaling down their artwork. So the blades of grass are bigger on the one that's closer, and they're smaller on the one that's supposed to be far away. And it's a pretty simple way to accomplish that effect. It's really just scaling it down, and it's almost, I mean, this being Windows 98 800 by 600, I mean, you can see individual pixels, and so up close, each blade of grass is like maybe 10 pixels tall, and then in the very back, they're like 1, and in some cases maybe 2 pixels tall, and those might be flowers actually. So it's kind of between, like, so the next one back is like 5, and then the next one behind that is like 2 or 3 pixels tall. So, you know, you could really, I mean, you could definitely do something like that in P5.js, even though it's a vector kind of system. You could emulate that by drawing the right way. I guess one thing that would be trickier now that I think of it in P5.js, is like a line changing color as it draws is a little wonky, and so I mean it can be done, but it like the way it does it's kind of heavy-handed. So I think that might be an interesting challenge to solve. Like basically, I would be, instead of drawing a line for each blade of grass, I would be creating pixel art on the fly. Like I'd be creating it pixel by pixel, which might be a little bit resource intensive, but I think once they're drawn to the canvas, they just stay there. So it wouldn't be, it has to keep track of all of these blades of grass. So interesting. Okay, so I think I'll try this maybe tomorrow morning. I'm not sure when I'm going to stream again. This week is the Electronic Literature Organization's conference, and so I'm trying to attend as much of that as I can online. I think most of that tomorrow is in the afternoon. I think the morning is open, so I'm going to probably try to stream tomorrow morning. I'll try this. I'll try to do this Meadows screensaver and see what I can do with it. It's kind of pleasant. Like it's just kind of nice, and it makes me think of being outside, and it's nice to think about these kinds of things this time of year. So I'm going to probably do that tomorrow morning. And I think my toaster, if I do end up adding the toast GIF, I'll share that, I guess. Otherwise, you know, I'm relatively happy with it, the way it ended up. So, right on. Well, thanks for watching. Looks like one person actually is still watching, so hello and goodbye, and thanks for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow morning, maybe 9:30 in the morning, 9 or 9:30, depending on how things go. All right.